Are you thinking about investing in Panama but don't know where to start? Meet Liz Larroquette, the investment advisor for Panama's biggest real estate developer. With years of experience, Liz helps people just like you invest with confidence, guiding you through every step of the process. Whether you're looking for a smart investment or a dream home, Liz's insights can make all the difference. Join us as we dive into how she helps turn investment dreams into reality right here in Panama. Welcome to the Panama Podcast, From Dreaming to Doing. I'm your host, Melissa Darnay, an American who's been living her someday, every day since 2012. Get ready for a weekly dose of Panama sunshine and inspiration, from hilarious expat adventures to insider tips on living, investing, and having a blast in Panama. Curious to learn more? Go to choosepanama.com and snag your free copy of Panama Uncorked. Joining us today is Liz Larroquette. Liz, what initially brought you to Panama 16 years ago?
It's so lovely to be here, Melissa. Thank you so much for inviting me. And absolutely, like, what podcast in the world can you sit down and have a lovely glass of wine like this?
Mine.
Yes, yours. And of course, what brought me here to Panama years ago, I came looking for adventure, really, and I came for a job. So I was working for a large hotel group in Australia, and I came to work with them and was then with them for about 5-6 months, and then met the Bern family. And the Bern family are the largest hotel group in Panama, and started to work with them. And yep, that was 16 years ago, and I'm still here.
Bern is not only the largest hotel group, they're the largest developer.
Yes, exactly.
And you've always worked on the developer side, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So I started in the hotel industry and then moved from the hotel industry into the real estate industry. Bern are developers, and they also build and then buy the franchise for a lot of different hotel chains.
So they have the Westin, the Le Méridien.
Yep, 9 hotels: Westin, Crown Plaza, Holiday Inn, the Intercontinental, where the president of Panama lives upstairs. So they're the big guns for real estate development and also for hotels in Panama.
Panama's changed a lot in the past 16 years. What were your first impressions of Panama, and how have they changed over time?
Yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, a lot of it really depends on where you live in Panama. When I first moved here, I was living in the beaches area, which is about an hour from Panama City. And it was rural, quite laid back, outdoorsy, beachy, which is what I love. And I came to Panama with like a 1 and a 2-year-old. So for me, the priority was living in a place that was super safe, but also living in a place where there was enough of the day-to-day comforts to make living here incredible. But when I first came, there wasn't a whole lot of amenities out in the Coronado and Gorgona area. And now Coronado and Gorgona is like the leading beach town community in Panama. So I was living out there. I was living in a beach house. I had a wonderful job. I launched a couple of buildings for the developer. And it was the good life, but it's definitely changed a lot. We had one small local, I think it was a Baptist church. I had my kids in a local Baptist school, and now there's like 3 international schools out there. I can remember when they first started, they were coming home every day super hyperactive. And I'm like, why are they so hyperactive? And I realized that every day there was always a kid's birthday party. So they're knocking down the piñatas full of lollies every day. And so I threw my kids into the local school experience to get used to the local experience. That was one of the reasons I wanted to move to Panama, and also to speak the language. And then over the years, I then moved them into different international schools, and yeah.
And what was it like raising the 2 kids? So you started in Coronado with the young children, and then later you moved to the city. What was that transition like, and how did you know when it was time to move the kids from the fun school with lots of piñatas, birthday parties, to an actual school that focused on education?
Yeah, like there's a couple of great international schools in the Coronado Gorgona area. But at the time, they're open now, but at the time I felt my kids needed a little bit more. So I put them into a couple of the large international schools in the city so that they could start preparing for university, where they do the IB program and they get them ready with the SATs, and they have school counsellors that can help them get into universities. So I just felt that my kids had more opportunity in the city schools with what was available at the time. Now, though, there are other international schools in the area that I would put my kids in now, but I also moved closer to the city because there's a lot more to offer in the city than out at the beach. I chose now to live in a beach close to the city, just 15 minutes from the city, Playa Bonita. And I love that because it's the best of both worlds. I'm close to the city, restaurants, nightlife, they're fantastic international schools, but I'm in a resort on the beach. I get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we're very biased. We both live here. And
Yeah.
this
I didn't know I was allowed to say that.
This area is you really have everything, because in the city you can't rent short term, but here you can.
Yeah, that's right.
Here we're close to the amenities of the city, so it's no big deal to drive 15 minutes to have dinner in the city. Whereas in the beach area, it's an hour and a half to 2 hours to come in for dinner. So there are so many benefits of living here.
Yeah.
I want to stick with your kids for a moment, though. I know your son went to a Yale program this past summer. So here he's not only getting an education, he's getting an education good enough for the Ivy League.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So the university counselors in the top schools here, they set you up. I mean, my kid went with quite a few others up to Yale in the US like a month and a half ago, had a wonderful time pretending to be a doctor. But yeah, and they set up also university tours, so you can go through the check out all the different universities and see where you want to be. But realistically, there's also great universities in Panama, and there's two US universities where you can do part of the course in Panama and part of the course up in the US. So Louisville, there's a university from Louisville. There's also, is it the Kentucky? I think one of the big universities from Kentucky also has a branch here in Panama. So I'm seeing a lot of the international kids that want to stay living in Panama are going to these universities where they can split their degree between the two countries.
And what a great experience that is.
Absolutely.
So switching gears, what is it like working for the biggest developer in Panama?
It's weird because I just got goosebumps, and it's fantastic because I know that when I'm offering clients a product, I know that it's going to get completed. I know that it's going to be of high quality, and I know that it's in a strategic location. And generally they bought land in areas where there's a lot of growth, where there's a lot of room for appreciation, and where there's also a great expat community. And like a lot of my clients are looking to integrate into Panama, but also looking to be in a community where there's people from all over the world.
That's right. Yeah. There is something wonderful, like the building where we live is an international building, and we constantly meet people from everywhere. She's from Australia, I'm from the United States. We literally have people from Japan, South Africa, pick your country, Germany.
Yeah.
And it's so fun because as people are coming and going, we get to know their culture,
that's right,
their traditions, their food.
Yep.
And it's just been such an experience that I don't think I would have ever gotten in the U.S. Meeting this many different people from different countries.
Yeah. And what I hear all the time is my clients are looking for a place where everyone can feel at home. Right. And I think because Panama's had so much international influence, I mean, the US were here for a long time. We've had so much influence from different countries. So it's a melting pot. You don't feel, if you can be blonde hair, blue eyes, you can have dark hair, dark skin, you can have whatever, and you can fit in here in Panama.
That's right.
And like I know my children, they don't even look at, I'll say, oh, you got a new kid in your class, where are they from originally? They're not going to go, oh, the Asian guy, or they're not going to go and like stereotype where someone's from because of their nationality. They'll go, oh, yeah, and they'll give some other comment that's got nothing to do with race or nationality. And I love that. Like my kids see everyone as equal. And they also speak, Spanish and French and multiple languages. And that's the other great thing about being here, because you do have their brains when they're younger are like sponges, and they do definitely learn Spanish, you know. And that's, you can't, having bilingual kids is just setting them, in the right direction in life.
One of the things moving here, it's so much easier to make friends as an expat also. One of the things I struggled with when I moved from California to Texas in the same country was making friends, because everyone had their own friends and their own boxes. And here, you're all expats, so you have that in common right away. So it's so easy to make friends, and it's so easy to meet new people that I don't think if you stay in your own country, even if you move states or cities, I don't think it's as easy to make friends.
Yeah, and I think also people get what it's like to move to a new country and not know anyone. So, like I know in this building here, there's always a happy hour on a Friday night where everyone's invited, be it renters, new owners, and it's just a great way to meet people. And people do know what it's like to move here and leave their family behind. We have so many people moving to Panama that are single by themselves, big changes in life. In all different ages, people in their 20s up to their 80s are moving here.
And I think another thing is people are so giving. For example, in the United States, I do not remember one time ever when someone said, here are the keys to my car. Feel free to drive it. If you need it, no problem.
Yeah.
And here people do it all the time because not everyone has a car.
Yeah.
Or sometimes your car is broken and a couple might just have one car.
That's right.
I have one of my funniest Panama stories is about Liz. When I moved to Panama, I didn't know Liz very well. We had met, we had probably had lunch, but I really didn't know her very well. And she had said, oh, I'm going to be in Australia. The key is going to be under my mat. Spend a couple weeks in my house. No problem.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself. So I get in, it's about 2 a.m. I have 5 suitcases.
Oh, no.
2 little dogs and a big hat on.
Of course you did.
And it's 2 a.m. and we're trying to get in and I've got the key in my hand, but it won't work in the lock. I can't make the lock work. So we're trying to do the lock and I have a friend with me and the security guard comes. And the security guard first with his flashlight, basically, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And my Spanish was like non-existent at the time. And so through sign language, I told him, I've got this key. I'm trying to get in the house. So he ends up going through a window in her house to let me in. And that never would have happened in the United States because they would have taken me to jail thinking I was trying to break into her house.
Yeah.
But it was, and I remember the first time I told you that story, you're like, what?
Yeah. We don't have to worry about we don't have to worry about security, that's for sure.
And also because the building has security, the area has security, there's cameras everywhere. It's a very safe place to live. I don't know about you from Australia, but I feel a lot safer here than I did in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, security's definitely not been a thing that I've ever worried about here. I mean, obviously it depends where you are. I mean, there's parts of the city that you're not going to walk around in at night.
Absolutely. There's parts of Dallas I would never be in at night, for sure. Yeah. Any city. How has the real estate market in Panama changed since you first started here 16 years ago?
Often it depends which government's in power, but we're really lucky because the last few governments that we've had, they're super pro foreign investment. So they have these amazing real estate, they have amazing residency policies where they're encouraging people to move to Panama. They're making it easy. They're making it easy not just for individuals but also for companies. So they have there's 3 trade-free zones here in Panama where these international companies can set up shop and they don't have to pay taxes. So what that means for investors buying real estate in Panama, it's leaving, it's opening up a niche market for smaller units targeted more towards executives from multinational companies. The government are allowing you to get a fast-track residency and $300,000 investment. You can get fast-track residency in a month, which is kind of unheard of. And they're incentivizing, individuals, not just companies, to move to Panama. Easy to get residency, retirement visas, or there's the other friendly nations visa. So there's lots of different options that the government have to incentivize people to move here. And so what I'm seeing, a trend is definitely a lot of the big developers, including Bern, are building smaller units targeting this niche market in the city, and also continuing to build in areas where there's a solid expat market, especially a snowbird market, because a lot of snowbirds are looking to move somewhere where they've got beachfront,
Right.
So there's a bit of a mix.
They don't want to be here full time, but they want to be here part time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And keeping in mind, Panama's got the fastest growing economy in Latin America. Yeah. So appreciation is solid. I always tell people, look, don't come to Panama looking for the best price in the world where you can do tons of flips. It's a conservative real estate market. Our banking system is super conservative. Our interest rates are high and they always have been high. So what happened in the US in 2008, right, you'll never see anything like that in Panama because it's a very solid place to invest with a very conservative banking system. Yeah, but I've seen that big growth in Panama is definitely due to government policies.
Liz, what do you love most about living in Panama?
The proximity to so many places to visit. I mean, last week I was in Colombia. I just popped over to Bogota for a conference. I love going to Medellin. I love going down to wine tasting in Mendoza.
And you were just in Mexico.
I was in Mexico this month too. Yeah, pop up. Look, Copa Airlines has tons of direct flights every day. And I make the most of it. What most of us that live here, we get our Connect Miles credit card where you get points. Put everything that you're doing in life in Panama on your credit card. I fly for almost free everywhere. I love going to Mexico. There's now direct flights to Tulum. which is like a 2-hour flight. US, depending on where you are, super close. You can pop over to Europe on an overnight flight. Yeah, I love going away, and then I love coming back and having the heat of Panama hit me. Yeah.
And that is, for a lot of people who like to just go, it is very convenient here because we're not just the Panama Canal that's the bridge of the Americas. We've got Copa Airlines, like you said, that bridges us to so many different cities with direct flights.
Yeah, that's right.
Makes it nice. How does life in Panama compare to life in Australia?
This sounds really awful, but I find life in Australia a little bit boring. Okay, and I think it's for the reason that you said before, the meeting of people from all over the world. I mean, I was part of a triathlon group here, and I had all nationalities in my group. The youngest person was in their 30s. The oldest was in his mid-70s. One of my favourite humans in the world that actually lives in the Playa Bonita building, she's in her 70s. I've got friends from all over, right? And it's a diverse, eclectic group, and there's something going on all the time. Like there are events as many nights of the week that you want to go out. There's events. And I like because Panama's still small, so you can go out and see people that you know. I love that feeling of community that Panama has. It's terrific.
I was just in Dallas, and every single one of my friends said to me in some variation of, our lives here are so boring compared to your life in Panama. And it's true. And it's not just this is the way it comes across. Our lives here, crazy exciting.
Yeah.
And they don't have to be, I guess, but we like it that way.
Right.
Because there's always something to do, someplace to go, some fun thing happening that we get invited to. And it is a lot of fun. And it's hard going back home and kind of being a little bit more sedate. Yeah.
And you meet interesting people, interesting people that have retired, that have had incredible careers that I would never, ever had the opportunity to meet in my everyday life. At the wine tasting I went to recently, a few weeks ago, I met the head lawyer for Microsoft. And we had the most amazing conversation. And I'd never have met her if I had lived in suburbia Australia.
That's right.
Where everyone's wearing flip-flops and,
That's
right. I love Australia, but it's laid back and it's nowhere near as exciting as here.
And I've met ambassadors literally from all over the world that I never would have met. I didn't meet Obama, but he was staying here at Playa Bonita, and I have pictures with him that, I never would have gotten that close in the U.S.
Didn't your husband photobomb him at the gym?
Yes, absolutely. I'll have to find that photo and put it up here because there are photo bombs.
Yeah.
Liz, what are the biggest misconceptions that you think people have about living in Panama?
Okay, the old rice and beans. So I think one of the issues for Panama has been that they haven't had a super strong tourism industry, right? The new government that's just been voted in is extremely pro-tourism. But the government have been creating a lot of massive infrastructure projects to try and generate more tourism in Panama because people haven't heard about it, right? They think of Panama as being like rice and beans.
And roosters and dirt roads.
And dirt roads. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely find that if you're looking for it. But Panama's way more developed than what I think people realize because the government haven't been relying on tourism because we've got the Panama Canal and we have got our banking system. So, but now the government is becoming more pro-tourism. They've just created that cruise ship terminal, which is now the start and end port for major cruise ship liners. You've got the convention centre with capacity for 20,000 people. There's huge infrastructure projects now that have completely stimulated the tourism industry.
And one of the things I like about Panama is it's not just the Panama Canal. It's not a one-trick pony.
No.
That's not the only thing that's driving the economy. Yes, it's the number one thing in the Panama economy, but there are so many other things, tourism being one of them, but there's also banking, and there's also the fact that there's so many multinationals here, which in real estate helps us. In fact, let's talk about, I know you touched on it earlier, all the multinationals in places like Costa del Este and how they're bringing people here. Since there's over 120 multinational companies, how is Bern targeting them and giving them what they want to make it so that there'll be 150 multinationals next year?
Yeah, so first of all, the government are incentivizing for the multinationals to set up here without having to pay taxes. Right, so that as long as they set up in one of the tax-free zones. So the main tax-free zone, as you mentioned, is Costa del Este, and that's a satellite pre-planned community near the city.
Right.
So the niche market are definitely for these developers to build smaller units to target all these multinational company executives. They don't want to be paying up $3,000 to $7,000 a month to live in a beautiful area. They want to pay between $1,500 and $2,500 a month, because often it's the actual multinational companies themselves that are paying.
That's right.
So the niche market are definitely smaller units. And I mean, there's 25,000 executives in Costa del Este alone. And there's only a couple of buildings with smaller units. And I mean, for investors, the best return on investment is generally short-term rentals. But as you touched on earlier, it's illegal to do short-term rentals in the city.
Right.
And so developers are now, big developers like Empresas Bern are actually getting the license to be able to do short-term rentals. So that you can let the building can then be listed on Airbnb and all the third-party websites. And that's generally where your investors are getting a higher return. Like 8 to 11% you can get in these buildings.
And I know one of the projects that I'm very excited about is Generation Tower. Part of the building is going to be for the multinational corporate rental. And then part of the building is going to be for the aging in place, independent living. And that's something actually Panama doesn't have. In the United States right now, it's so expensive. First of all, you have to get on a wait list. Then you have to pay so much money to be in an independent living facility. And here it's going to be so inexpensive. I think it's a huge untapped market.
Yeah, that particular project has, I mean, the independent living section's almost sold out because the prices were in around that
185,000.
Yeah, 180 to 220,000. So that's almost sold out because people are looking for a place to age in place. With all the amenities within a super modern part of a town, a place where you can walk to shops and restaurants. And that particular project is across the street from the Johns Hopkins affiliated hospital, Pacifica Salud. So there's some great opportunities for a fraction of the price of what you pay in North America.
One of the things I'm really excited about is I was given a sneak peek into a new project that's launching right here next door to us in Playa Bonita. Tell us about that.
Okay, I can't say too much because it hasn't been signed off on yet, but Bern has a project that they're about to launch with one of the largest hotel groups in the world. We'll be operating the rentals in that project. So it's a condo hotel. It's on Playa Bonita, which is the closest beach to Panama City, and all the rental leads will come in through this chain. So the developer at the moment is in the process of purchasing the franchise. So very exciting.
And they're expecting a really high ROI, return on investment, on this project.
Exactly.
We're all so excited. Again, this is right next door to us. So you can come visit Casa Bonita. You can stay here, rent something here, and then we'll show you where it's going to be.
Yeah, so it'll be 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. So it's for people that want to also have that plan B place or somewhere to move to in the future, or come down part of the year and rent it out through the on-site property management program when you're not here. So we're very excited about it. I can't say too much now, but yes, it will be launching very soon.
We will have a big launch as soon as it's officially launched. So keep your eyes open. If you're interested, go ahead and put in the comments below that you're interested, and we'll put you on a list so that you're one of the first ones to find out about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Liz, how has your worldview changed since living in Panama?
I've realized that I'm addicted to this place. And every time I leave, like even when I go back to Australia, I'm like, I hope my parents are not listening. I love you, Mum and Dad. But whenever I go back to Australia, I'm always itching to get back here because I think it is because it is exciting and I love to travel. And I've done a lot of my own investments here in Panama. And so I have my day job and I also invest. And I've had wonderful returns. I've seen some excellent appreciation. And I see, it's a dollar-based economy. It's a solid government. And I mean, the lifestyle is, I don't know. I don't think I can compare it with anywhere else.
You can't beat the lifestyle, for sure. You can't beat the lifestyle. There's no way I could live like this in the U.S.
No, that's right.
For sure.
Yeah. We won't talk about how many massages that we have a week. And let's just leave that one on.
Massages, wine events, maids.
You have a personal chef. Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to make everyone jealous at home. So,
Liz, you've seen Panama change a lot over the past 16 years, but how do you see Panama evolving over the next 1 to 2 years?
Well, I would say definitely tourism. Like I was just reading the local newspaper today, and tourism is the biggie. There's new high-end hotels popping up around the country, and the convention business here is massive. And there's more and more multinational companies moving here, and there's not just new multinational companies, but they're expanding their workforce. So
That's right.
yeah, there's a vibe. And like right now, I know a lot of this is pre-election, but there's no matter what way the election goes in the US, I think Panama is going to keep getting busy of people that are just looking for that plan B.
And I think for a while, Panama was really appealing toward retirees.
Yeah.
And now I think that's switching. I mean, obviously we're still attracting retirees.
Yeah.
But we're also attracting, like you said, the workers.
Yeah.
Because there's so much business happening in Panama. It's becoming so business friendly. It's the place to be for business in Latin America, for sure.
And what the other wave that I'm seeing is, and this has been post-pandemic, is there's so many entrepreneurs that have moved to Panama.
Yes.
Many of my clients have made their money or making their money on Amazon, online, a lot of global nomads. I was at a barbecue on the weekend and there was like 8 of us and the group was so diverse. I just couldn't believe it. And most of them were like working online.
Liz, what legacy do you want to leave behind in Panama, both personally and professionally?
Look, I'm going to tell you, it's so important to respect the people that are around you. The Panamanian people are just so wonderful. And I've learned so much from in the 16 years that I've been here from the Panamanian people. They're teaching me to slow down, teaching me to also be more family oriented, teaching me to accept everyone. I mean, it's so open arms here. And, and I've come with my Australian mentality. I remember when I first moved here, I came from a corporate background. I'd be wearing suits and black every day. And over the years, my clothes got less and less. But I did bring my Australian way to Panama. And I hope that I've been able to, affect people's lives that I work with in a positive way. And I know that, I love that I can help my clients find great investment properties or great places to live. And I mean, for my children, the best thing I ever did in my whole life was moving here to Panama because now they're better people for it. Like I said before, open-minded, incredible children.
Speak multiple languages.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time to when you first moved here, is there anything that you would have done differently when you first moved to Panama?
Yes, 1,000 billion%. I can tell you right away. I would not try and reinvent the wheel. Right? I would use experts. I wish I had have used experts. I'm going to tell you when I first moved here and I did speak Spanish, right? I did immigration myself. I stood for hours and hours in line at immigration. I didn't hire a lawyer, right? So don't try and reinvent the wheel. Use the experts that have been here, that have done it, I've now over all the years I've learned of how to do things. It's better to pay someone a little bit to do a service for you than stand in line.
That's right.
That's what my biggest take.
There are actually people that you pay that go stand in line in government offices. And they'll tell you when to show up so that you don't have to waste your time doing that. And look, for us, $50 isn't going to change our lives. But for them, it means a lot. So they're willing to go stand in line for $50. One of the things I would do differently is I would video everything. I wish that I had taken more video when I first moved to Panama a decade ago, 12 years ago. Because Panama's changed so much. And when I try to tell people how it's changed, my words aren't big enough to express the change. And I think if they could see a video of it, it would be better. That's one of the things I'm trying to do now with this video series is document where we are now, because I see tremendous radical growth for us in the very near future.
But the biggest issue is their eyes are going to turn green. We're going to get a whole pile of green-eyed monsters jealous that they're not living this life. It's hard to not be a big head,
Liz, what would you say to someone who's on the fence about moving to Panama?
Look, I would say just come down and check it out. The country's so small. I mean, you can cross from the Pacific to the Caribbean in like an hour and a half, or the same day. And the country is small, and most of the places that you'd probably want to live in isn't going to be more than, say, an hour and a half from Panama City. Or a lot of people like the Boquete area where it's just a quick domestic flight. So come down and check it out. I have people always that come down maybe just for a long weekend, a couple of days, 4 days, a week, and that will give you a really good feel of the country. So
absolutely. And if you want to come down, we have luxury accommodations waiting for you. We can arrange airport pickup. There's a lot of things we can do to make it easier for you. What a fun and energetic conversation we've had with Liz Larroquette. Liz, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
See you next time. Cheers. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure and subscribe, and press the like button. If you'd like to see other videos, drop a comment and let us know what other topics you're interested in hearing about.